Okay, awesome. So we are recording. So first things first, before we even get started, just always want to, give gratitude where gratitude is due. I have to be grateful to God for the gift of life. I have to be grateful to God for family, for friends, for business partners. And honestly, for just putting people, places, and opportunities that are always aligning to the people that we are becoming. I want to welcome everyone who decided to jump on the second installment of Mindset Mondays. We had our first one a couple of weeks back. And it was exciting. I'm very, very excited and pumped up, to be sharing this information with you guys on a weekly basis. And yeah, super, super stoked to be back here again. And I always tell people to say that, people who jump on these calls, are really people who possess, two of the most important qualities for success. And today, today's topic is success, but before we jump into that, I just want to quickly just touch on these qualities, that I feel like, everyone on this call possesses. And the first one is always, the quality of, aspiring, of a larger success, the quality of understanding that, hey, listen, I may not be, where, I want to be. I may not be where I had hoped to be, but I understand that, there is information, there is knowledge, there is something out there that I can go out and tap into that can really move me from where I am to where it is that I need to be. And I am aware and conscious of the fact that in order for me to get to those levels, I need to show up. And the fact that you guys are here means that you guys understand that, and you guys, are looking for change. You're looking for growth. You're looking for success. And the second quality is because you guys understand the first thing, which is, that, in order for me to get differently, I need to start doing things differently. The second thing is understanding and being, knowledgeable to the fact that in order for you to get somewhere, you need a vehicle. Now, a vehicle is obviously what's going to move you from point A to point B, right? Now, a vehicle can be people, a vehicle can be information, a vehicle can be environments. A vehicle is just simply something, that's going to move you from, point A to point B. And I always tell people to say that information changes situations. The reason why, I'm here right now sharing this information with you is because, this information is information that changed my life, and I mean, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm just quickly, just going to quickly just introduce myself so that we're not strangers on this call. But I'm not going to dwell too much on that. If you do want to know a bit about myself, you can go on the first installment of, the Mindset Mondays. I do share a bit of background. But, for those of you maybe are jumping on here for the first time, just to quickly just touch on myself, my name is Bubele Nazo. I'm 27, or was actually turned 27 a couple of weeks back on the 17th of January from the Eastern Cape. Just, a young man who just always wanted, big for himself and, decided to just go out there and start, tackling his goals, one at a time, and really just exposing himself to people, to opportunities, to environments, and just being humble, to the fact that, in order for you to get somewhere, you need to listen to people who have the results that you have. So that's literally what I did. I humbled myself and I said that, hey, in order for me to get to certain levels, in order for me to achieve certain things, I need to be a student to the game. I need to be a student to people who have the success, to people who have the money, to people who have the lifestyle that I'm trying to live. And that's exactly what I did. I started listening, I started following, I started being around people who are successful, people who are making a lot of money. And, I always tell people to say that, see, if you hang around, it's the law of association. And I'm going to touch on the laws, a bit further on this call, but I always tell people about the laws, right? The whole universe is governed by laws. There's a law of gravity. What goes up must come down. There's the law of association, which is what I want to touch on. See, the law of association states that if you are the average, the sum of the four people you hang around the most. So what does that mean? It means that if you hang around four smokers, you're going to start smoking. If you hang around four alcoholics, you're going to start drinking. So what do you think is going to happen if you start hanging around four successful people? What's going to happen if you start hanging around four millionaires? Is eventually you're going to say what they say, you're going to do what they do, and you're going to have what they have every single time. And that's exactly, what I applied in my life. I started surrounding myself with people who had large success, to people who were making it big in life. And lo and behold, my life also started to change. Lo and behold, I was able to also, start to, make a bit of money, start to travel, start to, live like they were living, So it's always, going to boil down to, the people you hang around, the environments, the spaces you find yourself in, the conversations you have, right? So that is just a bit about myself. But, I don't want to take too much, of everyone's time and just dwelling too much on myself. So I just want us to, dive deeper into, the reason why we're here. And I mean, today's topic is, the 7 steps, to succeeding, and I remember, last week, or the week before on our first installment, we touched on, how money is made, and, just, gave you guys a bit of background on, the 4 ways in which people can actually, make money, and just, understanding, the concept behind money and the mindset of money, because I always tell people to say that, your money and your income will always be a direct reflection or in direct correlation, to your knowledge level. See, a lot of people, they have the wrong, perception, when it comes to money. So a lot of people, they jump into opportunities, they jump into, jobs, whatever the case may be, chasing after the money. And that's the wrong mindset, because I always tell people to say that the amount of money you're making is in direct correlation to the amount of information you have and the amount of knowledge that you have. So what you need to start doing and what you need to start focusing more on is actually shifting your mindset on the money and actually on the information. Because, what really changed my life was that I told myself, I say, hey, listen, I'm putting myself in this spaces, not because I want to make money. Yes, I do want to make money, but that's not the main focus. The main focus, because I understand in order for me to get to the money, I need the information. So let me hone down on the information. Let me literally, grasp and put my fingers, deep into the knowledge, deep into the information, really just understanding, how, successful people move, what they think, what they do. And, lo and behold, the more, I grew in that space, in whatever field I was in at the time was cryptocurrencies, the more I understood more about cryptocurrencies, the more money I was making, because now I understood what I was actually doing. So, even with trading, I always tell the story and I say that a lot of people ask me, hey, how did you become, a profitable trader in such a short amount of time? And I told them, hey, listen, when I started this journey in the financial markets, I literally spent 21 hours in a day. Like, I'm not even joking when I'm telling you guys, I spent 21 hours in a day, just literally on the charts. Like, I was doing nothing else for a good, I think it was 5 weeks. It was a month and a half, right? I did nothing else because I was like, I know that there is money here. And I know that in order for me to get to the money, let me first understand what it is that I'm doing, because the more I understand what it is that I'm doing, the money is going to follow. It's a byproduct of who I'm becoming. So the more knowledgeable I get, the more information I feed myself, the better I'm going to get, right? So I was like, hey, listen, I'm doing nothing else. I'm just going to focus on understanding what it is that I'm trying to do here, because I understand that the more I tap into this information, the more the results are going to start showing, because the results will always be a byproduct of who you're becoming, right? And that's exactly what happened, right? I just, zoned in and I just, dived deep into information. I started reading books. I started jumping on, YouTube. I started, listening to my mentors, really started to just invest all my time in understanding that. And lo and behold, after a month, I was able to even start teaching people, the information that, I knew at the time. And obviously, I always tell people, you learn to apply to teach, right? Whatever it is that you learn, you have to apply, because you can't go out there and teach people something that you haven't applied, which is why I always tell people that the education system is so flawed, and I'm not talking down on educations. I'm just talking up on opportunities. So a lot of people, they have the wrong, they have this idea. I mean, it was instilled in all of us, from a young age, that in order for us to be successful, we just needed to do things differently. We needed to go to school, get good grades, go to varsity, get even better grades. And, my mentors always told me, they said that we are learning from people who are just using theory, right? The education system is just books that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. There's no practical in that. The people who are teaching us this, they haven't applied it. My accounting teacher was not a chartered accountant, right? Nor were they an accountant for that matter, but they were teaching me accounting. How do you teach me something that you're not even doing and you're not even applying in your life, right? So I had to shift and started listening to people who had the results. See, if you want to become a millionaire, you want to listen to millionaires. If you want to become a soccer player, you want to listen to, the best of the best. You want to listen to your Ronaldos. You want to listen to people who are doing it because they have applied what they've learned and they've gotten some level of results, where then they can use those results to show you that, hey, listen, this is what I've learned. And from learning this is what I got from applying this information. And through that, I can then share this because I'm sharing from experience. And I always tell people to say that everything I tell people, every advice, every, trade, everything that I talk about is always, based on, my level of experience, because I always share through experiences. I can't tell you guys something I haven't experienced, because then, I'd be lying, or I'd be, talking about something that I don't even know. So how would then I be able to share information that I don't even know, or I haven't even applied, right? So I always share based on a level of, experience, so that's exactly what I always, preach. And I always tell people, and I say that you want to listen to people who have done exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. If you want to become a trader, listen to people who are successful traders. If you want to become a successful business person, listen to people who are successful business individuals, because those individuals have learned and grasped the information. And then from that information, what did they do? They have applied that information. They've put that information to use. See, a lot of people, they just gather information and think that they've done. They think that the success is going to come. They think that they've accomplished life. It doesn't work that way. See, a lot of people, they're afraid of the application because they're afraid of failing. See, failure is a stepping stone to success. So you can never really achieve massive success without failing at some point, right? I've failed multiple times, but I always get back up and I always push, because I understand that, I have to embrace my wins and my lessons the same. I can't, get too high in my highs and get too low on my lows. I need to maintain a constant balance, right? So whether I'm making a lot of money or whether I'm losing money, I need to keep the same energy, because I understand that, if I'm losing money, I'm learning something, and that is going to allow me to then become better and make more money, right? If that makes sense, right? So back to the formula, whatever it is that you're learning, you always have to first apply it to yourself and see if it's going to work. And then if it is working, then what do? You share it with the next individual. And the best part about sharing it is that the more you say something, the more you apply something, the more you teach something, the more you embed it in your mind, the more you embed it in your subconscious. And then for you, it just becomes second nature. So the more I teach trading, the more I teach financial literacy, the more I teach about cryptocurrencies, what am I doing for myself? I'm bettering myself. I'm bettering my knowledge. And also, it forces you to level up, because if I don't grow, all right, I can only teach and I can only educate to a certain level, because eventually people are going to catch up, because I'm just teaching and I'm just sharing the same thing over and over and over again, right? And then when people are at par with me, then there is no growth and they're going to see no value in me. So what does that mean for me? It means that I always have to be evolving. I always have to be growing, because the more I grow, the more I can share, the more I can apply, the more results I can get, and the more results I can teach to the next individual. So, that's, what's really changed, myself as well as an individual, was just not only learning all this information, but using this information, getting the results and teaching. Because the moment I started teaching it forced me to level up. It forced me to continue to learn. It forced me to continue to grow, because the more I grew, the more I could share, right? So let's jump right into, the 7 steps to succeeding. So these are just, 7 things that I feel like, remember, these are Mindset Mondays. So, and I always tell people, and I say that success, right, is 80%, right? Success will always be 80% mindset, and 20% skill, right? So it's 80% mindset and 20% skill. So what does that mean? It means that you need to focus here before you focus with what you can do with your hands, right? Because the skill will always be a byproduct of how you can focus on the 80%. The more you focus on the 80%, the skill is going to come second nature. It's going to be a byproduct of you just working on yourself. Now, the 80% is your personal development. The 80% is your mindset. The 80% is how you move and how you do things, and the mindset behind you doing those things, the energy, the frequency, the vibration, right? Now, I feel like these 7 steps, right, have really, really, really changed me, right? I'm hearing someone, I'm seeing someone saying that they can't hear me. That individual would definitely have to, sort out their audio settings. But anyways, let's just get right into it, guys. So, like I said, these 7 steps, right, are just simple things, right? We're not if you guys know me, you guys know I like simple things. I like to simplify, even when I'm doing the charts. Like, my charting is very simple, right? I don't like to overcomplicate things. I don't like, even with my teachings, when I teach, right, I try my utmost best to simplify it, so that, even, anyone, even a 12-year-old can understand what it is that I'm trying to articulate to them, and they can grasp it, right? Because there's no need for us to overcomplicate things. And that's the thing with people, is that they always just want to, use big words. They always want to overcomplicate things and look smart, but that doesn't really help. Just using big words and just, trying to look smart doesn't really, mean that you are smart, to be honest, So, if you have a notebook, if you have a piece of pen, I'd suggest that you write these down because, you know, I've learned this from my mentor. My mentor always told me that note takers are money makers, because you can only, 85% of the information that I'm going to share with you right now is going to go through here and out through there, right? You will never be able to retain all the information, but the moment you start writing things down, right, what happens is that you can go back and you can revisit it and you can read it over and over and over again and embed it in your subconscious, right? And embedded where? In your subconscious. So the first thing, right, the first step to succeeding in the 7 steps to succeeding is writing down your goals, right? Now, I don't know, like a lot of people have asked me, you know, hey, you know, Layden, does this really work? Does writing your goals really work? Like, you know, I've heard people, a lot of successful people, and this is one of the most cliche things that a lot of successful people, I've never heard a successful individual who does not write their goals down on a daily basis, who does not have goals, yearly goals, you know, monthly goals, quarterly goals. You know, I've never heard of a successful individual who doesn't have goals. Because why are goals important? Because goals give you direction. They give you a sense of purpose. They give you, you know, alignment. You know exactly what it is that you're going, right? Now, it's very important for you. I mean, now it's January, right? Now is the perfect time to start jotting down your yearly goals, right? I normally have yearly goals. I have, you know, monthly goals, I have weekly goals, and I have daily goals. Because, you know, look at it this way. This is how you always have to look at your goals. You have to have the long-term vision in hand, right? Whatever the long-term vision is for you, right? Whether it's, you know, hitting your first 7 figures this year, whether it's, you know, buying your first car, whether it's renovating the house, right? Whatever your goal is, I mean, you know, goals are very subjective, you know, it's to each their own, right? But I always tell people, and I say that, you know, when you're setting goals, you always have to have, you know, the long-term vision at hand. And then what you want to do is you want to reverse engineer it. Okay, listen, that is my goal. See, I want to make $1 million this year, all right? If I want to make $1 million this year, what do I need to do? On a monthly basis, what is my target? Right? On a weekly basis, what is my target? On a daily basis, what do I need to do? Because if I do what I need to do on a daily basis, it's going to accumulate to a weekly basis, which is going to then accumulate to a monthly basis. And if I'll continue to do exactly what I need to do on a yearly basis, I'm going to achieve this target, right? So your goals should always be aligned and should always, you know, be in unison to the bigger goal, right? So like I said, goals, you know, are very, you know, subjective, you know, to each their own. You know what it is that you want to achieve this year, right? And the most important reason why, right? The most important reason why, you know, you need to write your goals is because of the second point, right? Of you know, the 7 steps, right? So the first thing that you want to always do is every day you want to make sure that you're writing down your goals. You understand your goals, right? What do I need to accomplish today? Because also it's gonna drive productivity. It's gonna drive action, because your goals are gonna hold you accountable to you, right? Because you have to understand that no one here is here for the next individual, right? No one here is gonna, you know, chase after you. No one here is going to, you know, poke you in the back and say, hey, listen, you need to do this. Yes, there are people, you know, like myself, who are gonna keep checking up on you from time to time. Hey, listen, you know, how's progress? What are you doing? When are you joining us? You know, let's grow, you know, but like at the end of the day, everyone needs to hold themselves accountable. And I feel like goals are the most simplest things that can really hold you accountable to yourself, because they tell you what you said you were going to do. At the end of the day, you go back and you look at your goals and you see that, what did I accomplish today? Did I accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish? And they give you pressure, which is a good pressure, you know, because pressure makes diamonds. So now what happens that every single day that you wake up, you know that you've got certain things that you have, certain tasks that you need to go out there and crush, which means that there is never going to be a day where you're not intentional about how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and what it is that you do in that time. Because you understand that, hey, listen, I don't have time to go and sit around and chat with my friends and talk about this and that and that. I need to go and crush my goals, because if I don't crush my goals, I'm not going to meet my weekly goals. If I don't meet my weekly goals, I'm not going to meet my monthly goals. If I don't meet my monthly goals, I'm never going to be a millionaire this year. All right. So what does that mean? It means that I need to be intentional about who I spend my time with, what I spend my time on, and why I spend my time on that. All right. So that's the whole, you know, purpose of goals. It's not really just about writing what it is that you want to accomplish. It's the mindset behind writing down those things. All right. What does that do to you, you know, mentally? right? What is the mindset behind you writing the goals? And remember, we're doing Mindset Monday, so it's all about the mind, right? That's why it's important to write your goals, all right? So that is the first step, right? Goals are important. Now, the second step to succeeding, right, is your words, right? Is your words, because I always tell people, and I say that, all right, the future, all right, the future is everything that you say and everything that you write down on a piece of paper. That's why it's also important to write down your goals, right? Remember I said that, point 1 and point 2 are intertwined, all right? Because the future is everything that you say and everything that you write on a piece of paper, because it shall come to pass. And the only thing standing between you and the future and what it is that you say is time. Now, you will decide how much time you are going to have between now and when you accomplish your goal by your work ethic and by the action that you are going to take. So that's why it's very important for you to watch what you say, all right? Because there's a closer saying that says, which means that be careful of what you say, because what you say is going to come to life, right? I mean, we are created in the image of God, and God used words to create life. Now, if we were created in the image of God, we are godly, which means that whatever we say has power to create as well. So whatever it is that we share, whatever it is that comes out of our mouths, has power to create life or even death based on what it is that we're saying. So you always want to watch what it is that you're saying. You always want to speak positive affirmations, always want to speak positive energy, you always want to speak on a higher vibration, because you understand that the more you speak on that level, the more you speak on those vibrations, the more you're going to attract that into your life. All right? The more you speak, the more powerful your words get, the more you attract all of that into your life. Right? That's why every single morning, right, when I write down my goals and I write down, what it is that I want to accomplish, I write them down as if I've already accomplished it. So for example, I remember, back in 2020, I'd write, I'm so happy and thankful now that I've hit 7 figures in 12 months. I am so happy and grateful now that I've made over $1 million. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've accomplished this, that, and the third. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've traveled all over the country. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've impacted over 50 people. I'm so happy and grateful now. Now, what am I doing? I'm speaking that into existence. Now, the only thing that was standing between me and hitting 7 figures in a year was my actions. Because it was going to happen, because it was the future, because I spoke it to the universe, right? So what happened was that I started to move as if I had already accomplished it, as if I had already hit 7 figures, as if I had already achieved and traveled and done all the things that I wanted to do. And lo and behold, after 12 months, I hit 7 figures. I traveled all around the world, all around the country. I impacted and I helped people, right? But it was because I spoke it first, right? So it's very important for you to watch what it is that you say, right? And that's the second step to success, is always positive affirmations, right? Always speaking highly of yourself, always speaking highly of other people, right? Not just yourself, other people as well. Like, you should see how I talk to people on a daily. Like, I'm always motivating and, just literally, pushing people and just speaking highly of people, right? Because I understand that, that is the energy that I'm going to attract in my life as well, right? So words are very powerful. Never speak down on anyone, always show respect, always be kind, always be polite, and always speak highly of yourself and the people around you in your circle, and always just motivate and just give out positive energy, right? So that's the second step. So the first one was your goals, was writing down your goals. And the second one was your words, right? Now, the third one, which is very important, right, is questions. Asking questions. That's the third step to success. Asking questions. Now, why is it very important to ask questions? And I always tell people this, and I say that questions, right? When you ask questions, it reveals humility. Now, humility is understanding that and being humble enough to understand that, hey, listen, there are people and individuals who know more than me. There are individuals who have larger success than me. There are individuals who have achieved more than me. So I need to humble myself to a point where I accept that, I acknowledge that, I embrace that, and I go and I ask how they've been able to accomplish that. Because quick questions bring clarity. Once I ask more questions, the more clear I am on what it is that I need to do. And I always say this on my trading calls, and I ask, guys, are there any questions? Because if you don't have any questions, I'm going to assume that you know everything, all right? Because if you don't ask me anything, that means that you know everything. You need to be humble enough to understand that, hey, listen, I don't understand certain things, and I understand that in order for me to understand certain things, I need to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Every time I'm around my mentors, I always have questions to ask, because I understand that I can never not have questions, because if I don't have any questions to ask them, it means that I am at par with them, and I feel like my lifestyle and their lifestyle are the same now, and there's nothing they can teach me anymore. So the moment you get to that level, obviously now you need to find someone on a higher level, right? But always ask questions, because it reveals that, number one, that also it reveals that you're coachable. To the people that you're asking these questions, it reveals that you're coachable and you are willing and accepting of the fact that, hey, listen, I understand that you are at a higher position and you have certain information that you can share with me. I am humbling myself to this information, to you, to share this information with you, right? And I know that for me, like, when I started this journey, there was a lot of people with a lot of pride, you know. There were a lot of people with a lot of egos, you know, because they saw that, okay, hey, this individual is really starting to change their life right now. They're really starting to make a bit of money, but they never had the audacity, you know, or they were never humble enough to come and approach me and ask me that, hey, you know, what is it that you're doing? How did you get to this level, right? Because of ego and pride and the fact that, this is a young kid, or whatever the case may be, I'm not going to be belittled by this individual. And also, like, it doesn't matter the age. Age is just a number, all right? And all of us, all right, are a byproduct of our environments, right? All of us are a byproduct of, you know, where we come from. So I can never speak down on someone, you know, because I don't even know them. I don't know their background. I don't know the challenges and the obstacles that they had to go through to get to where they are now asking me that question. I just need to accept them for who they are and, you know, understand that the reason why they are asking me these questions because they want larger success, they want to grow. And my duty is not to judge, my duty is to help, right? So one thing I've learned is to always ask questions, because, you know, number one, questions bring and reveal humility, which means that, you know, it reveals that you are opening up yourself, you know, to accept this information, to accept this knowledge that is going to really, you know, change you and grow you. And also, you know, it gives you clarity, because the more answers you get, the more clearer the direction is, the more clearer the road that you're supposed to go on, you know, becomes. Because the more questions you ask, the more information you get, and the more information you get, the more information you can go and apply, and the more results you can get, right? So that's why it's very important to ask questions, right? So that is the third step, right, is questions. And then number four, the fourth one is, who do you talk to first when you wake up in the morning? Now, a lot of people take this one for granted, right? Because a lot of people ask them, what's the first thing you do when you wake up? They say, I go on my phone and I start answering people. I start messaging people. I'm like, do you take time to yourself to really just talk to yourself, just, you know, be grateful? Just because, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you what I do, right? Every day when I wake up every single day on weekdays at 4 a.m., 4 to 5 a.m., depending on what time I'm going to have my sessions in the morning. And I dedicate 10 to 15 minutes on just, you know, meditating, on just talking to myself, and just, you know, setting my vibration to a certain level and my frequency to a certain level, on just, you know, giving gratitude where gratitude is due. I always have to be grateful to God for the gift of life, for the fact that I even woke up and was able to be in that position, you know, because I always tell people, and I say that gratitude is is the gateway to abundance. Right? Gratitude is a gateway to abundance. The more grateful you are for whatever it is that you have, the more, abundance you're going to attract into your life. Right? So it's very important for you when you wake up to have some sort of routine. Now, I'm not saying do what I do. I'm not saying meditate. I'm not saying, whatever. I'm just saying you always have to show a bit of gratitude, and you always have to, if you're someone who prays, pray. If you're someone, who, just shuts down things, or just sitting in silence and just, talking to yourself and just getting yourself in a good frequency and a good vibration. Because see, what happens is that you're going to wake up, you're going to pick up your phone, you're going to see someone, throwing some negative energy towards you. And then that's going to spoil your whole day. All right. Because that's the first thing that you did. Now imagine you wake up and you set your frequency to a certain level, and you are in alignment, and you talk to yourself, and you give gratitude for the gift of life, and you give gratitude to all these things. By the time you pick up your phone and open your messages, that message has no effect on you, because you're already vibrating on a whole new frequency. So that's just going to bounce and ricochet off you, right? It's not going to, affect your mood. It's not going to paint, or get you down, because you're already vibrating, or you've already gotten yourself in this, mindset, and this vibration, and this frequency. So now everything and anyone, that comes, and disrupts this vibration is just going to bounce off, because you've already set a certain vibration. And what's going to happen is you're going to only attract things that you vibrate on. All right. So that's why it's very important for you to have like a routine before, you start your day, right? Early in the morning. Who is the first person you talk to, when you wake up? That's a very important one. And people overlook that. They want to wake up. They want to just, okay, I'm up now. Let's just start this day, brush my teeth, whatever. That's not how you do it. You always have to be in tune with yourself. You always have to, vibrate at a certain frequency. And then you go tackle the day. And then you go open your phone. And then you go start chatting with people. All right. The fifth one. All right. The fifth one is following instructions. Now, a lot of people battle with this one. I'm not even going to lie. Because a lot of people sometimes think that they know it all, right? And it baffles me. And I'm like, if you know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, why are you coming to me and reaching out to me for assistance? Because the reason why you came to me is because you understand that I have some sort of information or some level of knowledge that I can share with you that can advance you and move you from where you are to where it is that you need to be all along the way. All right. So if I tell you to do something, I expect you to do it because I know that when you do this, it's gonna give you a certain result. See, a lot of people, what they do is they accept all this information and then they go do their own thing. They don't follow instructions. They think that they understand. They think that they know it all. And then they don't get the results, and then they come back, they're like, but this is not working. But I'm like, did you do what I told you to do? Nah, I did this and that. I'm like, then how do you expect to get to the results if you're not doing what you were told to do by someone who has done that, and through doing that has gotten the results that you were searching for, all right? And, it baffles me sometimes, So it's very important for you to follow instructions. When your mentor tells you to do something, when your mentor advises you, when your mentor guides you, when they share information, when they share knowledge, when they share whatever it is, advice, follow the instructions. Because that is the only way. Put in the action, right? Without action, there can be no results, right? Without action, there can be no results. So you always want to do what? You always want to make sure that you are doing exactly what you were told, the best of your ability, because once you start to do and follow instructions, you're going to start to see some level of results. It's inevitable. It is inevitable because, like I said, for me personally, I share based on experience. So I know that when I tell you to do something, or when I share something, or when I teach something, I'm teaching you based on my experience. I'm teaching you based on information that I've been able to acquire that has given me certain results. So I know that if you do A, B, and C, you're going to get D, E, and F. So if you come to me and you say, hey, listen, I'm not getting D, E, and F, that means that you are not doing A, B, and C. You are doing B, C, A, or A, C, D, if that makes sense, all right? So your ability and your willingness to follow instructions is very important on your journey to success. You need to be able to humble yourself and just, submerge yourself in whatever it is that you're told to do, and just do it to the best of your ability. Because clear your mind and forget about everything that you think you know. Because once you start to tap into that you're already losing. You're already on the wrong direction, on the wrong path. Right? Don't think that you know something. Just submerge yourself in the information that is provided in front of you, and unlearn everything that you think you know, to make way and to make room for this new information that you're receiving, and treat this new information with care, and make sure that you're applying it to the best of your ability. Because I can almost guarantee you some level of success if you do that. All right? That is the fifth one. So let's just quickly recap. So the first one is writing down your goals. The second one is, the words, that's the future. Everything you say, everything you write down on a piece of paper, you write the words that you give out to the universe. Right. Number 3 are questions. Right. Questions, asking questions, they bring clarity. Right. Number 4 is, who do you talk to first when you wake up? Right. Number 5 is following instructions. And then number 6 is moments. Moments. Now, in life, there will always be that moment. And you will know that moment when that moment is happening. Because that moment is that moment where everything's going to change for you. And nothing will ever be the same after that moment. And I'm going to tell you guys a short story. What's the time? Okay, we've got about 15 minutes. All right. I'm going to tell you guys a short story of how I knew my moment was my moment, and how that really shaped and changed my life. All right. Which is why I feel like understanding and knowing your moment and taking good advantage and making sure that you don't miss your moment is very crucial in your journey to success. Because for me personally, had I missed that moment, yes, maybe I would have gotten another moment, but I don't even know. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten that moment. Maybe that was my only moment. And had I missed that moment, I would have been, back where I was now, longing to be where I am today. All right. So you always want to, be prepared. Right. Always want to be prepared for your moment, because when that moment comes, you want to be able to jump on it and latch on it with both hands, clench it tight, and make the most out of it. Now, back in 2020, right? So obviously back in 2019, December, I stumbled upon an opportunity, which was cryptocurrencies. I started learning about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple. And my mentor at the time was staying in PE, right? So I was like, okay, the first thing I need to do is I need to change my environment, because the environment that I was in wasn't conducive to the person that I was trying to become. So I was like, listen, I'm willing to move to PE just to be closer to my mentor and that environment and that space, because I was going to be surrounded by people who knew exactly what they wanted out of life, who had the success that I wanted, who had the information, who had the lifestyle. So I literally packed my bags and I moved to PE. All right. And every single day I'd wake up, I'd go to the office. So my mentor had an office in PE. I'd go to the office and I just submerge myself, in my seat, and just absorb the atmosphere, absorb the environment, absorb the conversations, and be very attentive to what it is that, was being shared. And literally over time, obviously, I started to grasp the information, I started to learn. But long story short, it got to a point where we came back, right? We came back, and we were coming back because it was going to be the first time that I was going to host my first seminar. Well, I wasn't even going to host a seminar, to be honest. Let me tell you what happened, right? It was, so after, I think about 3 months, right? After about 3 months, we came back because we were going to host a seminar, right? But I wasn't going to be one of the hosts. I was just the organizer of the seminar. Obviously, my mentors were the one who were going to share the information. I was backing. So we traveled back to King Williamstown, and literally, they hosted the seminar, right? Hosted the seminar. It went great. We were hosting in a small area. We had about 20 to 25, maybe 30 people in the room, right? Event was a success. People were excited about the opportunity. People were excited about cryptocurrencies. And then obviously I hadn't seen my family in over 3 months. So what happened was that I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to stay here for the weekend, and then I'll just follow through on Monday, back to PE, because I wanted to spend a better time with my family. And then boom, lockdown happened, right? So I couldn't travel. right? So, and then everything was just digital, everything was online. And obviously we started, working online, started to make a bit of money. And then I think June, July, they started to, allow people to start hosting, sessions. And then we were like, hey, we want to host another seminar again. Now, this is where my moment came. Now, let me tell you guys what happened. So I invited my mentors. I was like, hey, listen, I've been in King for some time now. I feel like, I've been sharing, I've been spreading the word. A lot of people are excited. So let's host another seminar. I'll bring you guys down. And at the time, I remember they were going to come to East London. They were going to have a seminar on Saturday in East London. And then on Sunday, they were going to come to King Williamstown. So that's exactly what happened. So I did the poster, did a mass marketing. I was in the streets handing out flyers, and listen, on that day, we had no less than 250 people in the room. I'm not even kidding. I still have pictures of that. We had no less than 250 people in a room. Now, mind you, my duty was just to be an organizer, right? I had no intentions of doing anything outside of just putting people in the room and allowing the multi-millionaires to do all the talking, right? So what happens is that my mentor shows up. Now he's traveling alone. Remember, there's supposed to be two of them. There's one who does the opening, talks a bit about the history of Bitcoin, all of that. And the second one, my mentor, is the one who just motivates and just, breaks down how this has been able to help him, and how he's been traveling and making so much this, that, and that, right? Now he comes and he's on his own. And he's like, yo, the other guy, is sick. So they can't come. So we need to find someone who's going to be able to do the first part. And at that moment, right, with over 250 people in the room, I knew that that was my moment. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Now, I wasn't expecting to say anything, but because I was so heavily invested in the information and the knowledge, I was prepared because I knew everything about Bitcoin, from when it was done to the mining to, the ways in which people can earn a living through it. I was so prepared that when I got up there and I did my part, you would swear that I was the person who was supposed to be there. So that is what I mean by knowing your moments, all right? Because ever since that day, after that, my mentor was like, never are you not going to stand up there and share this information. Never are you not going to be the one who presents. Never are you not going to be the one who hosts your own seminar. You are at a level right now where you can actually start doing your own thing. And that opened the door for me to start traveling, because I started to travel. I went to, Cape Town. I went to Johannesburg. I went to Mpumalanga. I went to Durban, hosting my own seminars based on that moment. And guess what happened? My organization grew. The people, my impact grew. My mentorship program grew because of the confidence that I had with the ability to just share this information and to grow from that information. And it was all based on that one moment. Had I not taken that moment, I would have never had the confidence to travel all around the country and sharing that information and being confident enough to put myself in that situation, all right? So I knew that that was my moment. And that moment really, from that day, changed my life. I was able to travel all around the country. I've been in all the provinces. I've talked in, rooms of 250, 300, 500, plus in a room, and it was all because of that one moment that I took and I grabbed with both hands. And that was God introducing me to that moment. Everything was happening for a reason, right? So that is me, just basically touching on knowing your moments, right? You always have to know your moment. And when that moment comes, you want to grab that moment with both hands and you want to run with it. But here's the thing now. You always want to be prepared for that moment. You don't know when that moment is going to come. I never knew that that was going to be my moment. But because I was always prepared, I was always, feeding myself with information, feeding myself with knowledge, by the time that moment came, I was prepared for that moment. You never want to get to a point where it is your moment, but you're not prepared. You don't have the right information. You don't have the right resources and the right tools to capitalize on that moment, because once that moment goes and leaves you, you don't know when you're going to get it back again. All right? So that then encompasses everything that I've shared, from writing down your goals, from the words that you're saying, from asking questions, because all of that is going to lead so that when that moment comes, you have you've answered all the questions. You have all the answers. You have all the information. You have the mindset, the frequency, the words that you're saying. I can do this. All right. You've followed instructions. All right. Because everything else, everything I've said, point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is tools that are going to allow you to get and be prepared for that moment. So if you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, by the time that moment comes, you're going to know exactly what to do. You're going to grab that moment. You're going to run with it. I promise you. All right. And then the last thing, right? The last thing, so we close the session off, is expectation. All right. Is expectation. See, you have to expect to be successful. You have to expect good things to happen in your life. And it's the laws of the universe. All right. See, we're all governed by laws. There's a law of gravity. There's a law of numbers. There's a law of association. Now there's also a law of expectation. See, the law of expectation says that because I'm doing certain results, because I'm doing certain activities, I expect to get certain results. See, I can't wake up every single day and spend 21 hours on the charts and not expect to become a profitable trader. I cannot wake up every single day and jump on 5 a.m. sessions and jump on 7 p.m. sessions and jump on 9 p.m. sessions, learn the skill, get invested on YouTube, find a mentor, ask questions, get vibrated on a high frequency and not expect to be successful. It's impossible. I always have to expect that because I'm doing A, B, and C, I will get D, E, and F. It's just a matter of time because I've got faith. I understand that because I'm doing what it is that I'm doing, eventually I am going to get, it might take a month, it might take 3 months, 6 months, a year, 4 years, 5 years, but eventually it's going to happen because I'm putting in the work. And I always tell people and say that the work that you put in now will only show in the future. See, where I am today is a byproduct of the decisions I made a few years ago. So the decisions I'm making now are going to shape my future. And I expect to be at a certain level at a certain time because of everything that I'm currently doing today. I expect to have this amount of impact. I expect to have this amount of income. I expect to have this amount, a lifestyle like this. I expect to have this. I expect to have that. Why? Because of everything that I'm currently doing right now. It's the law of expectation. I know for a fact that if I continue doing exactly what it is that I know I should be doing, I will get to where I know I am going. I expect that to happen because I've got a lot of faith. I'm vibrating on a faith frequency. Right? Because I'm writing down my goals on a daily basis, because of the words that I'm saying, because of the questions that I'm asking, because of, the affirmation and who I talk to every day in the morning when I wake up, because of me following instructions, because of me knowing my moments and taking advantage of my moments, I expect growth. I expect success. I expect personal development. I expect to be at a higher vibration, at a higher level. I expect a higher income. Because remember, your income level will be a byproduct of who you're becoming. So the more growth, the more income. But you have to expect that. Right? You have to expect that. So I expected to be where I am today. I expected to have traveled to all the places I've been to, have made the amount of money that I've made, have lived the life that I've lived. I expected that because of the amount of work that I put in. It was a law of expectation. I knew that if I continue to do A, B, and C, there is no way that I'm not going to get D, E, and F. I don't know when it's going to happen. That is also going to be dependent upon, because I always tell people and I say that's not going to happen in your time. It's going to happen on God's time. And God's time is the perfect time. All right? But I expect it to happen. I know it's going to happen because I've got faith that God will always put people, places, and opportunities that are always aligned to the people that I'm becoming. All right? God will always put people, places, and opportunities that are always aligned to the person that you're becoming. So everything happens for a reason. All right? So expect success. Expect large sums of money. Expect growth. Expect positive relationships. Expect all of those things because you know deep down that you are doing exactly what you need to be doing. And if you're not, then you know what it is that you need to do in order for you to get to that frequency where you expect certain things to happen. It's like the example of the low expectation is basically me saying that if I drink alcohol, I expect to get drunk. All right. If I drink alcohol, it's the law of expectation. What am I expecting from this action? Because this action is going to come with the result. All right. So if I am waking up every single day and doing something that's going to grow me, doing something that's going to help me, get to the next level, doing something that's going to, feed my mind, doing something that's going to get me on a higher vibration, a higher frequency, I have to expect to become a better individual. I have to expect growth. I have to expect, larger success. I have to expect certain things because of the amount of work and the amount of input that I'm putting in, because the input is going to result in the output. The output will always be a byproduct of the input. Without the input, there can be no output. I am currently the output of the inputs that I put a couple of years ago, that I invested in myself a couple of years ago. So guys, that is basically, the 7 steps to success. Hopefully you guys got massive value from this call, right? I definitely, had a good time. And, the chat box, has been, flooded, with comments. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules, to jump on here. And I'm looking forward, man, to growing this to even, bigger, crowds, bigger audiences, maybe even do a podcast. We'll see where we can take this, and I always tell people that the first thing and the first step is just to get started, right? A lot of people, they're afraid of failure. A lot of people, they're afraid to go out there and do things, because they want to do it at a very high, level from the get-go. It doesn't have to be that way. Start where you are with what you have, because I always tell people to say that, you already have everything you need to get started currently right now with whatever it is that you want to do. You already have all the tools, the products, the resources, everything at your disposal right now to start. So all you need to do is just start. All right. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, hey, listen, how can I share this information? How can I put this information out there? How can I touch and impact the next individual? I was like, hey, let me just go on Zoom and just have this. And then lo and behold, from this, I've got, people reaching out to me saying, hey, listen, I'll get a bit of traction going, and then I'll supply with, quality equipment, and we can turn it into a podcast. Had I not started with the little that I had, I wouldn't have gotten to that level. All right. Can you see that, everything is based upon the vibration, the frequency, and just moving forward. However, it can be a half a step, it can be a full step. As long as you're just moving forward, everything else is going to start to align, towards what it is that you want to achieve, right? So obviously I was recording this. Yeah, I'm going to, save this, drop it in the back on my, YouTube channel. I'll drop the link on my stories. I'll drop the link on my WhatsApp. I'll drop the link on Instagram, wherever. And then you can just go back, save it, like, comment, subscribe, and keep stay tuned for more, right? Share, with others, let's grow this community, let's get people, and let's work on the mindset, because if we work on the 80%, the 20% is just going to come naturally. I can guarantee you that. I'll see you guys next week, Monday again. Have a blessed and productive week. I love you all, and take care.